We finally came up with a name after 7 freaking episodes. You ready? We're going to call it Fleshology. So, welcome to Fleshology. This is the podcast where we explore the weird, wonderful edges of reality, the hidden intelligences in nature, the mind-bending ways matter and consciousness interact, and the fringe science that makes you question everything you thought you knew. Here at Fleshology, we are all about mind-expanding, mind-bending, slightly unsettling, and deeply curious stuff. In today's episode, we're diving straight into one of the most powerful tools we all carry inside us, trusting your gut. We're talking about intuition, that quiet inner knowing that often hits before your brain catches up.
It's a massive topic. And honestly, it's one of the few areas where, hard-nosed neuroscientists and esoteric mystics are finally starting to agree on something.
Which is exactly where we like to live. But before we get into the brain scans and all the weird science, I want to start with a story from our research that it stopped me in my tracks. It's about a man named Kusher, and the setting is one of the most chaotic moments in modern history, September 11th, inside the Twin Towers.
Right. This story is a perfect example of what happens when the environment changes faster than logic can possibly process.
Exactly. So Kusher is in the tower. The first plane has just hit the other building. Nobody knows what's going on yet. It's all confusion, alarms, dust.
Total chaos.
He starts heading down the stairs, but he meets security guards who are blocking the exits. They are telling people with total authority, go back up, it's safe here, the problem is in the other tower.
And logically, that makes sense. In a crisis, you listen to authority, you follow the protocol, you don't panic.
Exactly. His logical brain is probably saying, listen to the guard. But Kusher gets this physical sensation. It wasn't a thought. It was a visceral, overwhelming scream from inside his body. A gut feeling that just said, run.
And he had a split-second choice. Obey the logic of the situation, the authority figure.
Or obey the irrational feeling in his stomach.
So what did he do?
He chose the stomach, he sprinted past the guards, ignored the orders, and ran out of the building. And he saved his life by a margin of minutes. If he had listened to the logic of the guards, he wouldn't be here.
Wow.
So, the question we're asking today is, what was that? Was it magic? Was it luck? Or was it a different kind of intelligence?
It's so tempting to call it magic, especially when the stakes are that high.
Yeah.
But when you dig into the research, specifically from neuroscientists like Dr. Tara Swart and concepts like predictive coding, what Kusher experienced wasn't magic. It was math.
Math. That feels like the complete opposite of a gut feeling.
It feels that way, but think about it like this. Intuition is essentially rapid, unconscious pattern recognition. Your brain is a prediction machine. It is constantly scanning the environment, millions of bits of data per second, and comparing what's happening right now to this massive archive of every experience you've ever had.
Okay, so in that stairwell, while his conscious mind is hearing, stay calm, his unconscious is picking up on what? What kind of data?
Micro signals. It could be anything. Maybe a slight vibration on the floor that didn't match a normal mechanical failure. Maybe the smell of jet fuel that shouldn't be in an office building. Maybe the pitch of the guard's voice wavered in a way that signaled uncertainty, even though his words said safety.
Things you wouldn't even notice you were noticing.
Exactly. The conscious brain is just too slow to process all that. It takes time to form a sentence like, I think I smell fuel. But the body is fast. It sums up all that data and sends a single signal. Panic.
So the gut feeling is basically a zipped file of data that your brain sends to your body because it doesn't have time to write you an email.
That is a perfect way to put it. And this isn't just theory. We have to talk about the Iowa gambling task. If you want to see this mechanism in a lab, this is the gold standard.
Yes, the card game study. This was in the after-school source material. And this one, it kind of blew my mind because it proves your body travels through time, sort of.
Sort of, yeah. So here's the setup. You have participants sitting at a table with 4 decks of cards. They're hooked up to skin conductance machines, basically lie detectors that measure the sweat on your palms.
Okay.
They're told to flip cards to win money. Simple.
Simple enough, but there's a trick.
There's a catch. 2 decks are safe. You get small wins, but they're consistent. The other 2 decks are rigged. They give you these huge, exciting wins, but then devastating losses that will eventually bankrupt you. The participants have no idea. They just start playing.
Okay, so logically, you have to play for a while to figure out the pattern. You've got to do the math in your head. Okay, deck A gave me $50, but then it took $100.
Right. And it takes the conscious, logical brain about 80 cards to figure it out.
Right.
At 80 cards, people can finally say, oh, I get it, those 2 decks are bad news.
But here is where it gets wild. What did the sweat machines say?
The machines showed that after only 10 cards, Their hands started sweating every single time they reached for a bad debt. 10. Their conscious mind had no idea. If you asked them at card 20, why are you sweating? They'd say, I'm not. But their biology had already solved the statistical probability of the game.
That is incredible. So for 70 turns, their body was screaming, don't do it, while their brain was still going, I wonder what happens next.
Exactly. That sweat is what scientists call a somatic marker. It's a biological alarm bell. And this leads us to a critical concept from Dr. Tara Swart called interoception.
Okay, I want to dig into this because we've all heard of proprioception, knowing where your hand is when your eyes are closed. But interoception is different.
Interoception is the sense of the internal state of your body. It's how you know you're hungry. It's how you know your heart is racing. And yes, it's how you feel that drop in your stomach. And here's the kicker. We literally have neurons in our gut.
Right.
The enteric nervous system is lined with millions of neurons using the same neurotransmitters as the brain in your head.
So when we say trust your gut, we aren't being poetic. We are talking about an actual, literal second brain in our abdomen that is processing data and sending it up the vagus nerve.
We are. And in many cases, that second brain knows the truth long before the first one does.
Okay, but playing devil's advocate here, because I love a spreadsheet. I love a pros and cons list. We live in a world that worships logic. If I went into a board meeting and said, my stomach hurts, so we shouldn't buy this company, I'd get fired.
You might, but you might also save the company from bankruptcy.
But isn't logic superior? I mean, isn't the whole point of evolution that we develop this big prefrontal cortex to override our animal instincts?
That's the modern myth. We think of the high road logic as the CEO and the low road instinct as, like, the intern. But the research on the free energy principle from Carl Friston suggests something very different.
The free energy principle? Okay, that sounds like a perpetual motion machine. Break that down for us.
Imagine your brain is a movie projector. It isn't just a passive camera taking in the world. It is constantly projecting a movie onto reality, a prediction of what it expects to see based on all its past patterns. Its only goal is to minimize surprise.
So if I walk into a coffee shop, my brain projects barista, coffee smell, noise.
Exactly. And your eyes are just checking for errors in that film. If everything matches the projection, you feel nothing. You're on autopilot. But if there's a mismatch, a prediction error, the brain wakes up.
Give me an analogy.
Okay, think of a chess grandmaster. A grandmaster doesn't look at the board and calculate every single possible move that would take millions of years.
Right.
They look at the board and they just see the move. They feel it. That looks like a guess to a novice, but it's actually compressed experience. They've recognized a pattern from 10,000 previous games.
So when I get a bad vibe about a person I just met, that's my brain saying there is a glitch in the movie.
Yes. Your projection was normal person, but your senses picked up maybe a micro-expression of aggression or a tone of voice that didn't match their smile. That error signal travels the low road, the fast unconscious path, and it hits you as a feeling. It's not irrational, it's hyper-rational. It's just too fast for words.
This connects to that idea of instinct blindness we saw in the evolutionary psychology sources. We're blind to how complex our own instincts actually are.
We are. We think seeing is simple. You just open your eyes. But seeing involves billions of calculations of light and depth and shadow. Intuition is the same. It feels simple, I don't trust him, but underneath that feeling is a massive computation solving a really complex adaptive problem.
But let's pause, because I know what the listener's thinking. Okay, so my gut is a supercomputer. Why does it sometimes tell me to text my toxic ex at 2 a.m.?
Right. Yeah, good question.
Or why does my gut tell me to eat an entire pizza? Is the gut always right?
This is the most important distinction we have to make in this entire deep dive.
Yeah.
And it's something that came up in the Doug Bobst and Mel Robbins material. We have to differentiate between intuition and trauma.
This is huge, because anxiety feels a lot like a gut feeling.
It does, but they're biologically distinct. Intuition is information. Trauma is a trigger.
How do you tell the difference in the moment? When you're freaking out about a decision, how do you know which voice is talking?
You have to look at the quality of the signal. Anxiety is usually loud, it's frantic, it loops on itself, what if, what if, what if, and physically, it tends to be located in the upper body, tight chest, shallow breathing, racing heart. You feel like spinning.
Okay, so loud, fast, upper body, that's anxiety. What does intuition feel like?
Intuition is usually quiet. It doesn't scream. It just states a fact. It's that still, small voice. It feels grounded. It's often lower in the body, the stomach, the gut, your feet. It has a quality of neutrality to it. It just says, don't go there, or call them.
It's the difference between a fire alarm and a GPS direction.
That's a brilliant analogy. Anxiety is the fire alarm. Intuition is the GPS calmly saying, turn left.
But the problem is, modern life is basically designed to keep the fire alarm ringing 24/7.
That is the tragedy. The biggest enemy of intuition is stress. Dr. Tara Swart explains this beautifully. When you are chronically stressed, your cortisol is high. Your brain interprets that as, there is a tiger chasing me.
And when a tiger is chasing you, you don't need to be creative or insightful.
Exactly. Your body shunts blood flow away from the prefrontal cortex, where you do your complex thinking, and away from the creative centers, and it pushes it to the brainstem and the muscles. You are in survival mode. You literally cannot hear the subtle signals of your intuition because the biological noise of panic is just too loud.
It's like trying to hear a whisper at a heavy metal concert.
Precisely.
And there's another enemy here, too, specifically mentioned in the Rachel Hollis and Mel Robbins sources. It's not just biology, it's conditioning, especially for women.
Social conditioning is a massive block. We're trained from childhood to look outside ourselves for answers. We take the poll.
The poll, Mom, what should I do? Group chat, what do you think? Mel Robbins talks about this. We are terrified of making a move without getting consensus first.
And that consensus kills the intuitive signal. There was that story about the woman who went into a business partnership. Every cell in her body said no. She felt sick around this partner.
Oh, I remember this one.
But her logic and her scarcity mindset said, this is a huge opportunity. Don't be stupid. Look at the money.
And she ignored the gut.
She did. And it was a total disaster. The partnership imploded. Her body knew the partner was dishonest long before her brain could ever verify the bank statements.
Mel Robbins had a similar story about working at a law firm. She spent months in a windowless room, stamping papers, just absolutely miserable. But she stayed because it was the logical path.
Until her body literally rejected it. She talked about ghosting a job interview at the Attorney General's office. She didn't analyze the pros and cons. She just physically couldn't do it. She walked away.
Her body knew she didn't belong there before her mind was ready to admit she'd made a huge career mistake.
Right.
That brings up a weirdly spiritual angle, though. If the body knows our destiny before we do, are we talking about more than just biology here?
Well, this is fleshology. We have to go a little deep.
Let's go there.
Historically, humans didn't call this predictive coding. They called it the demon or the muse. In Western esotericism, the idea was that you have a guiding spirit, an intelligence that is you but also greater than you.
It's the idea that the thought isn't coming from you, it's coming to you.
And even if you strip away the mysticism, there is the concept of non-local consciousness. We know we communicate chemically. Dr. Swart talked about pheromones. If you walk into a room and a couple has just had a huge fight, even if they're smiling, you feel the tension.
The air feels thick.
It feels thick because you are literally smelling their cortisol. You are sensing the chemical shift in the room. We are connected in ways that logic can't see.
I love that quote Rachel Hollis used. Greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world. Whether you call that God or biology or the subconscious, it's a superior intelligence to your ego.
And ignoring it is a form of self-betrayal. When you override your gut to please someone else or to chase money or to fit in, you are disconnecting from your own hardware.
So let's talk about how to reconnect, because if we're all walking around stressed, disconnected, and taking polls, how do we get the password back? How do we tune in?
The first step is to calibrate the instrument. You need to learn what your intuition tastes like compared to your fear. And the best tool for that is a specific kind of journaling.
Not just Dear Diary, right?
No. Pattern recognition journaling. When you get a hunch about a person, a job, a stock, anything, write it down. Have a weird feeling about this guy. Then put a date on it. 2 months later, look back. Was it accurate?
You're building a scorecard for your gut.
Exactly. You are training your conscious mind to trust the data from the unconscious. You start to see, oh, every time I get that tightness in my left shoulder, it means I'm being lied to. You learn your own signals.
I also have to mention the not this method from Mel Robbins. I've started using this, and it's a game changer for overthinkers.
It's so simple. We often get paralyzed because we don't know the right answer. We think we need this Grandmaster plan.
Right.
Mel suggests you don't need to know what to do. You just need to listen to the body saying, not this.
It's binary. Does this choice feel expansive? Does my energy go up? Or does it feel contracted? Does my energy go down?
If it feels heavy and contracted, it's a not this.
Yeah.
You don't need to know the alternative yet. You just need to stop engaging with the thing that is draining you. That opens up the space for the yes to show up.
And for the people who want something a little more aggressive, let's talk about the Marines.
The combat hunter training. This is fascinating. The military realized that in war zones, the soldiers who survived were the ones who could sense danger before it happened. So they started training it.
How do you train a soldier to have a gut feeling?
You train them to establish a baseline. You cannot spot a threat if you don't know what normal looks like. They teach them to observe the environment when it's safe. What does the street sound like? How do the locals move?
So they build a really detailed movie in their head of normal.
Right. And once you have a strong baseline, any deviation, a sudden silence, a strange car, a lack of kids playing, pops out like a flare, that is the gut check. It's an anomaly in the baseline.
But to do that, you have to be present. You can't be scrolling on your phone.
And you can't be in chronic stress, which leads to the final and maybe most pleasant tool, forest bathing.
Which sounds like something a hippie devised in the 60s, but there is chemistry here too.
There is. Trees and plants release these chemicals called phytoncides. When we breathe them in, they lower our cortisol and boost our natural killer cells. But more importantly for us, they reset the baseline.
You have to get away from the noise of the city and the screens to let the sediment settle.
You can't notice the subtle signals of your body if your baseline is just chaos. Nature brings you back to a biological 0 point.
So go outside, shut up, stop asking your friends what to do, and listen to the stomach.
It sounds so simple, but it is the hardest thing for modern humans to do. We are addicted to noise.
So let's wrap this up. We've covered a lot. From the neurons in your stomach to the sweat on your palms to the Marines hunting for danger. What is the takeaway here?
The takeaway is that intuition is not a parlor trick. It is a high-speed, evolved biological software that has kept your ancestors alive for millions of years. It processes reality faster and deeper than your conscious mind ever could.
It's the bridge between what you know and what you are.
And I want to leave the listener with one thought that might break their brain a little. We talked about the brain as a prediction machine, constantly projecting the future to minimize surprise.
Right. The movie projector.
Well, in quantum physics, and even in some theories of consciousness, time isn't as linear as we think. If your brain is that good at predicting the future, maybe that gut feeling isn't just a calculation of the past.
Where are you going with this?
Maybe that hunch is you remembering a future you haven't lived yet.
Whoa.
If the simulation is accurate enough, the line between prediction and memory just dissolves. Maybe you know you shouldn't get on that plane because in some version of the data, you already know what happens.
That is terrifying and beautiful.
It's fleshology.
So here is the challenge for you listening. The next time you get a hunch, don't shove it down, don't logic it away, don't ask your group chat. Pause. Feel where it is in your body. Is it quiet? Is it grounded? If it is, listen. It's your cheat code for reality. Trust your gut. It is significantly smarter than you are.
Couldn't have said it better.
Thanks for getting weird with us on Fleshology. We'll see you in the deep end next time.